All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I've entitled today's class Under the Weather Yoga for those days when you feel like shit or you've had a shit day. We can meet on our mat. And first and foremost, the most important thing is to make sure you've got some water nearby to make sure you're hydrated, because so often when we are just not feeling great on any level, the self-care immediately goes. And one of the things that usually goes is the water and the food. So if you don't have any water, grab some. And ask yourself, have you had a good amount of water today? You want like 3 liters of water a day on a good day. On a day when you're stressed, you want more. So we're gonna have water breaks throughout class today. And let's start on our backs. So just get yourself comfy. Make sure you're warm enough. Take a couple deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. So when you're feeling under the weather or stressed, overwhelmed, any of those things, coming into a little more of a restorative practice or even just a reclined practice, so we're going to do a lot of reclined poses today, is very soothing for the nervous system. Just taking a moment and actually feeling the floor beneath you. Feeling yourself being supported, held. Allowing yourself to surrender. Life can be so difficult to surrender to. Maybe it doesn't feel safe to surrender. Or maybe you're just kind of hanging on for dear life. So reminding yourself in small ways that you can surrender and be supported. Something simple like just laying down. Letting yourself release, let go, and be held by the floor. Enjoying gravity. Feeling the weight of your body pressing down onto the floor. And just being here now.
We're going to bend the knees, feet to the floor, feet hip width apart. Take a second to kind of tuck the tail so you lengthen the low back a bit. And then just turn your toes out once and then let the heels follow. Let the knees fall in together. Take a moment here to let that low back really release. Oh. We're gonna lift those knees up towards the sky and then drop them gently over to the left, just as far as they'll go without needing to push. Bring them back center and drop them over to the right. And I like to pause once I get to either side and just take a breath. You can speed this up as much as you want to. So if you want to just move, inhale, exhale, as nice and fast with your breath, you can do that, or you can take a slower variation, but just moving back and forth, side to side at the rhythm that feels appropriate to you. This is really, really lovely for releasing the low back and sacrum. So if you've been sitting for a while or standing for a while, this is a beautiful release. But energetically, this really helps to shift our first and second chakras. So we've got first chakra, which is survival, grounding. Second chakra, which is creativity, sensuality. And during times of illness or stress, these two areas can get really heavily affected and locked up. Not to mention, if you've been sitting or standing for a while, the sacrum already probably gets pretty locked up. It's also a really nice little massaging action for the outer glutes, the piriformis, which are in charge of turning our legs outwards. So if you have been sitting, chances are you've been sitting cross-legged in some way, those muscles get really tight. And when they get tight, they start to tug on the low back. So really good opportunity here to kind of embrace the weight into each glute as you're there. And we'll make our way back center, drop the knees in once again. Take a couple deep breaths. And then pull the knees up into your chest, give yourself a little hug. We're going to come into shoelace pose. So you're going to cross the right leg in front of the left so that the knees are one in front of the other. And then one hand on each knee, press the knees down towards your chest. And if it feels like you need more, you want to keep the knees coming towards the chest. So that's the most important part of the pose, is the knees towards the chest. But you can walk your hands down the shins and then start to pull your feet away from each other as if you were going to tie yourself in a knot. But again, make sure the knees are coming down to the chest. So there's still this action of pulling down. And then unwind the legs, wind them up the opposite way. Pull the knees down towards the chest. We're not symmetrical beings, so this side might be a little bit easier or a little bit more challenging. So you may need to adjust. And then again, if you need more, you can always walk the hands down the legs a little bit. Continue to pull down, but start to also pull out on the legs. And then notice if you're holding unnecessary tension anywhere, maybe like the forehead or the jaw, the tongue. Try to relax those muscles. Unwind the legs and bring the feet together up in the air. Grab hold of your ankles and drop the heels down towards the pelvis and let the knees spread out to the side. And then depending on how flexible your body is, you can take the inner arches, inner calves, inner knees, and we're just going to extend one leg out at a time to either side. So we'll take the right leg out first, just stretch it out and bring it back in. And then the left leg out and in. We're just going to go back and forth. Just working with your level of flexibility. Let's go one more on each side. And then hug the knees back into the chest. Give yourself a rock upwards. So we're seated. Grab a sip of water. And then we're gonna do modified pigeon. We'll cross the right ankle over the left knee. And I like to add a little chest opener here. So I externally rotate my arms so my fingers point backwards. And I'm working my right knee away from my shoulder. If you need more, you can pull that left foot in tighter, and then you're gonna have to really push the chest towards the shin. And then release. Shake your arms out. And switch sides. So left ankle, right knee. Externally rotate those arms. Press the knee away from you. Lift the chest. Maybe pull that foot in if you need a little extra stretch. You're squeezing your shoulder blades together. And then releasing once again, shake it all out. And we're gonna come around to have a seat on our heels. So if you've got some tenderness in your knees, you can always maybe roll up your pants and tuck the pants right in the crease in the back of the knee. Or you can use a washcloth or a hand towel, whatever works in your body. And just settling here for a second, stretching out our knees, not a position we spend a lot of time in, typically. And then you're gonna drop back into your hands here. So I find it most comfortable kind of to be up on my knuckles. Another option is if you've got 2 blocks, bringing the hands back onto 2 blocks, or putting a bolster behind you, bringing even a chair behind you and kind of just dropping onto your elbows, another option. And you want to keep the head upright. So not looking straight like in front of you, but kind of looking up the wall a little bit in front of you, but not up at the ceiling or back, so that the spine is nice and long and there's no strain on the neck. If you want to go deeper, you can always start to bend the elbows and bring the elbows down either onto the floor or onto a bolster or blocks. And slowly walk yourself up. Grab another drink of water and clear away stuff from around your mat. And do a little bit of rolling side to side. So you just want to make sure that everything is away from the side of the mat. We'll come around onto our bellies. We'll start off in Sphinx. Just really soft, gentle back bend. Hips are heavy, legs are relaxed. The chest is open, so you want to feel your collarbones spreading away from each other. And really stretching that bottom rib forwards. So you feel the belly kind of stretching like taffy. We're going to bend the left knee, turn the right hand over towards the left arm, reach the left arm back and grab hold of that left foot from the inside. And then think about dropping the left hip down and sending the left rib cage, left shoulder forwards. And we're going to take this onto our sides. So you're just going to roll onto your left side. Right leg kind of drops back to support you, however it feels comfortable. Right arm is in front of you, gently rolling you over. And then you're going to lead with your right knee to bring you back. Hang on to that left foot into that bent leg sphinx. So this is actually a pose I really enjoy doing in its full form. So you'd be in like full bow and then roll side to side. And maybe we'll start bringing that into our practice next month when we start crawling out of winter and start moving into a little bit more of an active practice. Go ahead and release that left leg. Ooh, and that should be a nice stretch for both the leg, the hip, and the arm and shoulder. Hang out here in Sphinx for a moment. And then the left arm is going to turn over towards the right, right knee bends, grab hold of that right foot from the inside, and then send the hip down, the right rib cage forward, the right shoulder forward. Then we'll take this onto our side. So we roll ourselves over onto the right side. Left leg touches back to support. Left hand is in front of you for support again. Using the left leg to roll you back. Hang on to the right leg, sliding yourself back into one-legged Sphinx. Gently releasing the leg, bring the arm back, the leg down. Back into Sphinx for a couple breaths. We'll come down onto the belly for a moment, just to let the back regulate. So one hand on top of the other, forehead down on the hands. And bending both knees so the toes point up at the sky. Kind of a reverse of where we started class. We're gonna just windshield wiper the feet to the left and then to the right. And they just go as far over as they'll go. And again, I like to kind of let them dangle on one side for a second before moving, but you can go at your own pace. Coming back center, relax the legs back down, and then push yourself onto all fours, and let's bring the toes together, but open the knees wide, so wide V child's pose. Dropping the hips down, and then coming down either onto your chest on the floor, or if that feels uncomfortable, you can put a block or a blanket or little squishy balls under your chest, whatever feels good. Reach the arms out so you get a good stretch through the side bodies. Bring yourself up just a little bit. You're gonna thread the right arm in under the body and reach through the fingertips and then drop the head down and reach through the left fingertips. So it's a very active pose in the upper body. We are reaching through both arms at the same time here. And then the breath is actually where all of the yoga happens. So we get some really beautiful compression and expansion activity happening by using the breath. And it might feel really good to hang out and hold the breath in a particular place to get a deeper stretch. And drag the left hand back in front of your face and unwind. Oof. Take a moment upright of that right shoulder. Maybe press and squeeze the shoulder blades a couple times. And then thread the left shoulder down, reaching as far as you can through the left fingertips. So take yourself into a nice deep twist and then really reach through the right fingertips. And again, the breath is where it's at here. Sliding the right arm back under your face, unwinding. Pulling up those shoulders, press and squeeze a couple times. And then slide the arms back out into wide-knee child's pose, just to feel how much more open the shoulders are now. Coming up onto all fours. Let's take a couple rounds of cat and cow. Working at your own pace with your breath. But again, I invite you to pause at each end of the movement and see if you can't take it a little bit further. And bring the toes together, bring the knees together, have a seat on the heels again. And let's take saddle pose one more time. We lean back. So now we've had a little more opening through the shoulders and through the hips. This should be a little more comfortable than it was the last time. And you might be able to come down either elbows onto bolster, blocks, or floor. Coming up. You want to have your ball kind of close to you. We'll get there in a minute, but first we want to do a twist. So let's start with a pretty gentle twist first. I want you to hug your knees up into your chest, and then you're going to hug the knees real tight and drop them over. I like to drop my whole body to start over to the right so that I'm really curled up tight. And then from there, release the left arm out. So this is a little bit more of a mid and upper back twist. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, pull the knees back, center. Give yourself a hug again. And then drop over to the left. Again, I like to take my whole body so that I'm real tight in a ball. And then open the right arm out. Big breath in. Exhale, knees back, center. All right, and then we're going to wrap that right thigh in front of the left. And then try to wrap the right toes around the left ankle. May or may not happen. So you might find yourself right back here, kind of where we started off in class, and that's totally fine. And we're going to take these knees to the left. So I like to drop my left foot down and then drop the knees over. That feels really safe in my low back. Right arm extends out to the side. So the great thing about these kind of twisting compression poses is that we're wringing out our tissue and our internal organs. So if we've got a lot of stress in our system, that means there's a lot of adrenaline and different hormones pumping through our body, and they tend to stagnate in our tissues. So that's why massage is so kind of calming, is because it moves that kind of stuff out of the system. So same thing here. And then also if you're feeling under the weather and you're sick, again, the lymph is really sluggish. So these poses where we're really twisting things and squeezing and compressing help to open up that tissue and move any of the stagnant lymph and the lymph is our immune system. So if the lymph is stagnant, then our immune system is stagnant. So it's helpful to really open up the areas where there's lymph and compress them and kind of knead them, shall we say. And those areas of importance are backs of the knees, right where the hamstring and the glute meet, right up in the groin, just under the collarbone, and all around the underarm. So what we've been doing today of practicing with this kind of expansion and contraction is really helpful for that. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale. I like to do it the same way out as I did in. So knees up first and then toes last. Back center. Unwind the legs. Wind them up the other way. And then to drop them over to the right. Again, I drop my right foot down and then I drop the knees. Oh, this one is so much harder. I had not done this pose in years. And I was in a yoga class last week and she did it and I was like, oh my God, I love this. Why don't I do this anymore? So here we are. And the deeper you breathe in these poses, the more you are wringing out your internal organs, because it's probably relatively challenging to breathe here. So when you get into that really big exhale, everything is kind of expanding and stretching. And then the exhale, there should be a really nice release where you actually come deeper into the pose. Deep breath in. As you exhale, knees first, and then the toes. Unwind. Hug the knees in. Give yourself a little rock up. Take a sip of water. I'm going to, if you've got it, grab your squishy ball. If you don't got it, you can use a block with like a pillow over it. You can use a rolled up towel, anything really that's soft and squishy and big. This is going to go right behind our heart center. Oh. And then the arms come out and the head drops back. Now, if it's a little too much on your head, you can always bring a second blanket or block, whatever you got under your head for a little extra support there. God, that feels good. So we're gonna stay here for a little bit. And if it feels really good, you can stay for all of Shavasana. Otherwise, I'll let you know when you can release out of this and come into Shavasana. So if you want to come out of this pose and come flat on your back, you're welcome to. Taking a couple deep breaths. Imagine filling up your whole body with your breath. And then emptying everything out with your exhale. Let's do 2 more cleansing breaths like that. Inhale, fill everything up. And exhale, surrender, empty. One more. Very slowly, you're going to start to move your body. Being careful and mindful if you are rolling off of a ball or bolster. And we will slowly make our way back to seated. Bring your hands together at your heart center. Enjoying these mindful breaths. It can be helpful to set a little timer throughout your day, a little alarm that just reminds you to stand up and breathe and stretch. Especially if you're like me and you get super focused into whatever you're doing and hours go by and you don't even realize it. Very handy to kind of set that little alarm here and there to get up and move and breathe. Thank you for moving and breathing with me today. Namaste.